Now, we often speak of African solutions for African problems in the digital and banking payment space. We increasingly see Africans needing a combination of communication, commerce, and financial services in a single interface as key to advancing financial inclusion. This is a trend noted by Chipo Mushwana, who's executive of emerging innovation at Nedbank. She joins us with a greater perspective around the concept of employing unique African approaches to digital banking and payments. Chipo, thank you so much for joining us today.
Excellent. I'm happy to be here as well.
Fantastic. Let's talk about the rapidly evolving digital landscape in Africa that, of course, is made up of traditional banks, but quite a few fintechs. All of it really the aim to have as many people included in the mainstream financial system as possible. How are we faring?
We're faring quite well. So what we're seeing on the African continent is that the partnerships between traditional banks and also fintechs is growing and is accelerating. Now, what this does or what it affords us to do as players within the digital payments landscape is that we're able to offer these innovative solutions that are uniquely African and tailor-made for us to meet the needs of that particular geography and that particular set of consumers and customers that we have to serve.
Of course, we have seen that fintechs have thrived a lot on the continent just because of their ability to be agile and really are not, held down by legacy infrastructure and maybe even bureaucracy, Chipo. But let's talk about this working together and what that essentially means for banks now. You know, the kinds of things, the kind of territories that banks are able to now do in terms of digital payments and, of course, innovation that is led by fintechs, but of course can be carried out in a bank.
Yeah, so what fintechs have done for us in the industry is that they've introduced healthy competition, but also they've allowed us as traditional banks to be able to recognize where we are underweight. And where we are underweight, you speak about legacy systems, right? The African continent itself is plagued with its own legacy systems in the sense that we don't have the right infrastructure, there's power outages in certain areas. So when you think about financial inclusion and digital payments, when we come together with different partners within the value chain, whether it be fintech businesses, whether it be tech giants, whether it be card associations, we're then able to serve the customer much better. We're able to provide convenience, we're able to provide scale, we're able to provide adaptability, and that trust and security that the banks then bring is much needed and allows us to scale digital payments as a whole.
So let's speak then about embedded finance, because of course this is the interesting move that we're seeing happening here between our banks and within our fintechs, but financial services as a whole, Chipo.
Yes, so embedded finance effectively dissolves those boundaries between your financial services and consumer platforms. It allows us to enable these payments directly within your day-to-day use. So when you think about how do we offer you a loan through a non-traditional banking channel, that's effectively what embedded finance does. And it's really important and has allowed us to give rise to something we call super apps, because these super apps integrate our financial services and also our day-to-day life. We're able to offer convenience, accessibility, affordability, trust, security, education. So overall, the potential increases and the African economy also thrives with more people involved in commercial activity.
One of the things that make Africa uniquely fantastic and complex is that it's just not a homogenous market. So let's talk about diversity here, and making sure that we're rolling out solutions that are appropriate, that speak to the diversity that we see on the continent.
Of course, Africa is a vast continent. It's got diverse economic, social, and cultural context. And each country in Africa really has this unique challenges, infrastructure capabilities, or financial systems. So a one-size-fits-all approach is not adequate. Limited traditional banking infrastructure, like I said, sort of exacerbates this underbanked or unbanked population. So as we combine these existing methods that we have, whether it's payment methods with these emerging digital solutions, it ensures that we've got this increased accessibility, we've got greater user adoption, and the trust in the overall payment system absolutely increases. And that is what we are driving for on the African continent. We need a hybrid of modern and old to be able to service the African market because we are that unique.
Are we concerned at all about the regulatory environment as we move? Because in my mind, for instance, fintechs are agile, moving quite quickly. Banks as well, of course, highly regulated, but still with the balance sheets and a lot of the skill to move us forward here. The regulatory environment, that tends to lag behind a little, Chipo.
In some instances, it does. And that is why the relationship between all the players within the value chain, whether it be banks, whether it be fintechs and tech giants, is important with the regulator. Because remember, there is a response that is a knee-jerk reaction that is reactionary, and there's a proactive response. You ideally want a proactive response from the regulator rather than a reactionary response. So the regulator typically lags, as they say, regulation lags technology. But what we're seeing with a lot of the regulators is that they're becoming astute and they're in tune with the innovation and sort of the technology advancements that are happening, and are calling out to private sector, banks and non-banks, to say, how do we regulate some of these things much better? And it's absolutely refreshing, but also an exciting time to be part of this revolution within digital payments on the African continent.
Also, the issue of security. I'm wondering, are we moving fast enough with security? What we do know is that, those people who are hackers and all sorts of ill players and actors in that space are always innovating. They really don't sleep. And of course, we should always be trying to be ahead of them.
Of course, we have to trust, and security is it's the business that we're in. So if you trust me with your money, then you trust me with your future. And rightfully so, as these technology advancements, think about artificial intelligence. As a banker, I've got access to artificial intelligence. A hacker has got access to artificial intelligence. So it's really a race of milliseconds and staying ahead of the game. And that's really what we attempt to do. You said we command a large number of resources in terms of balance sheet, and we use that muscle to protect the resources that our customers entrust us with, their finances and their assets altogether.
Well, Chipo, it's been a pleasure hearing from you. Thank you so much for unpacking this one for us, riveting stuff. That was Chipo Mushwana. She's Executive of Emerging Innovation at Nedbank Retail.